Join me right now on Kumite TV is undefeated lightweight Chris Duncan. Chris, you got a big date coming up. How you feeling?
Just feeling good, man. Feeling good. Just got a few pounds to cut, and I wish the fight was this weekend, to be honest.
Yeah, it can't come fast. First, I want to start with when you turned pro in 2018. Why did you decide at that moment? How did you know that was the right moment for you to leave the amateur ranks?
It came a point where people in my local area weren't wanting to step up and fight me. Um, and obviously, with my amateur record as well, it was quite good. There was a lot of knockouts as well, so um, it just was a wise decision to move and then also get paid to do what I love, which is another bonus. So yeah, it wasn't. It was a long, drawn out process. It took a bit of time, and my coaches and my teammates we all sat down and had to think about it, and yeah, it just kind of happened naturally.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys similar to you, that can't find fights in the amateur ranks. And what were some of the excuses you ran into? Because I'm pretty sure guys pulled out last minute, even on the day of the fight.
Yeah, that happened lots. Yes, but I was actually just talking about that the other day. A guy pulled out on the day and stuff like that. People. You know, I think back in the day, people were like, yeah, yeah, I'll fight him, and then like down the middle of the fight camp, they realised that maybe got myself in a bit of a sticky situation here. So, yeah, they kind of pull out. That tends to be the most common way that they pull out. But a couple of guys have just flat turned me down and said no, because obviously I was potentially going to fight a couple of guys that were ex UFC stars and stuff like that, and then they were more upfront about it and just said, "Nah, listen, I'm at the end of my career. I'm not fighting this guy." So I actually had a little bit more respect for them saying no rather than leading me on down this fight camp and then pulling out last minute.
For sure, man. And I noticed that you fought at welterweight for a few fights and a lot of catchweight fights in between. What prompted you to make the move to lightweight, or was it just finding fights that was why you're fighting up a weight class?
Well, that people kept pulling out,
Mhm.
so I had two people pull out on me in my last two Bellator fights. So they ended up being a catchweight fight. They said they couldn't make lightweight, so I actually prompted my manager to say, listen, I don't want this guy to make fail to make weight. So if he wants a couple of pounds, just let me know, and I'm happy to give him that. At the end of the day, we both want to get in there and showcase our skills. So it's important that everybody makes weight and safely. I would hate for them to cut all that weight and then not be performing at the best of their ability. So it just made sense to fight at 160, but lightweight is going to be where I'm at for the time being now, because obviously the UFC don't do catch weights. Well, they do, but it's very, very rarely that they do it. So I'll stick to lightweight now. Obviously, I've not made lightweight in nearly 2 years now, or maybe a year. In fact, it'll be longer than that. It'll be maybe 2 years. So it's just all about the preparation. I'll always be able to make the weight. I always start early, so I've only got maybe 18, 20 pounds to go, so be good to go.
And you're undefeated as a professional. And I noticed that you have one blemish as an amateur back in 2014. Take us back to that fight, and what did you get out most with that experience? Being on the running the end of a decision.
Well, with that was I had another pull out, of course.
Mhm.
So two guys didn't show up at the weigh-ins. So me and this other guy had no opponents, but he was a middleweight and I was a lightweight. In fact, I think I was fighting at 74 kilos there, so it was like maybe 162 pounds. Um, so he was a middleweight and I was a kind of welterweight, if you like, or a super lightweight. And then, because I was an amateur and I was young and I was stupid, I said, I'll fight you. Not in a nasty way, obviously, but I just said, we've both not got fights. How about we just go out and fight? And he was just far bigger than me, far stronger. So I hit him a few good shots, and then he wanted nothing to do with the striking. So then he just grabbed a hold of me and took me down. And it's one of the only fights I've ever been in that I've actually felt like I've not been in a fight, because the guy just wanted nothing to do with my striking. and just took me down and lay on top of me. And because I was so young into my career at that point, I hadn't had the skill to be able to get up or use my jiu-jitsu at that point. So that was a massive learning curve for me to be able to learn wrestling and grappling. So it was almost like a knight in shining armor, if you like, taking that fight with him to improve in my grappling. But as I say, the weight difference was the only reason why I won that fight. It was never to do with skill.
Yeah, it's always better to experience that as an amateur than rather than as a professional, right?
Of course, yeah. But as I say, you learn from your mistakes, and it sounds a bit cliche and a bit silly, but you don't lose, you learn, And I did learn from that fight, and just on to the next one.
After that, man, you've been on an incredible run as a professional, seven straight finishes. Which fight are you most proud of? Which fight did you face the most adversity, maybe inside and outside the cage?
My first Bellator fight was a last minute replacement.
Mm-hmm.
I took the fight on 4 weeks' notice. As soon as I took the fight, I was, you get amped up. You go in the gym, and so I ended up tweaking my back. I hurt my back doing deadlifts, and then as soon as I had to take 7 days off with that, which I was worried about because obviously I took the fight in last minute. My weight was a bit high, all that sort of stuff. So, and then a week after that, I then cut my eye underneath, and I wasn't allowed to spar for like the remainder of the camp. So it was against Sam Slater. It was probably the one fight that I faced with the most adversity, and as much as people don't want to talk about, like the wins and losses and stuff like that, that was a fight that I went into that I didn't feel prepared for, but knew that it could go either way, and I just needed to land on him because I knew he was very, very elusive, a very good striker. So, and that's also taught me that things don't need to be perfect, things don't need to run smoothly, for you to be able to put in the results and get the work in.
Also, that you competed like right before the pandemic hit, and then when shows started back up, you competed again. That 7 month period in between fights, how did you handle all the restrictions and regulations? Because I know it was pretty tough in the UK.
Yeah, it was shit, mate. It was terrible. It was just not good, man. I did what I could. I was still in the gym. I was sneaking about. I was hiding away from the police and doing what I can because I love this sport, and I just had to do what I had to do. I took on a couple of things, like I did a lot more sprinting, a lot more running. I also developed some techniques and stuff like that. Like I didn't just think, oh, working hard means working hard. I involved myself in some yoga. I practiced some skill-based stuff, So it was a good. I tried to keep my mind busy, and the main thing was just to keep my mind busy and keep my mind off fighting. And fortunately enough, it paid off. We got the fight in, I think it was October last year. So I've been off longer this time, which has been a bit of a pain, but I feel ready to get back in there now, man.
You mentioned the long layoff heading into this fight, I believe around 10 months, 11 months or something like that. How did you spend that time though? Because I'm pretty sure you were healthy. You're just waiting for the opportunity. So what did you focus on?
I focused on getting better. I mainly focused on my wrestling and my grappling. My striking's always been good. I've come from a K1 background, so I worked on that. Just got better, just physically, mentally. I trimmed up my diet now that I've been a professional. I went from fighting in local halls and local stadiums that only held maybe 200, 300 people to then fighting in Dublin to 10,000 people. So I really took it seriously. I used to balloon up after fights. I used to get really big. I used to walk about at like for instance, a fight at 155, and then I would like balloon up to 200 pounds. So that was just like at my amateur career, and when I wasn't really taking it seriously. So now I've kept my weight at like 183, 185, and it's that lightweight margin's a lot easier to hit.
So you're one of those guys where people said like that guy fights at lightweight? No way. No.
That's me. Yeah. So I cut a lot of weight, but I do it slow and I do it right. I've taken the time and I've actually paid for nutritionists and I've got all the scans and stuff like that to show and to help. So and without a little bit of struggle, you know, like nothing comes easy. So a little bit of struggle through fight camp with the diet, you know, pays dividends because, you know, if you're the bigger and the better guy in there, you know, you've gained a little bit of a percentage on your opponent.
For sure, man. The science is crazy nowadays that, you know, you got to take advantage of it for yourself.
Of course.
September 21st, you're going to get your opportunity against Manuel. I'm not even going to try to say his last name. It's
No,
hard.
no.
It's hard.
Unfortunately, my fight has been pushed back for a week, so I'm actually on the 28th now.
Okay. Okay.
That only happened like last week, so it's getting pushed back just to do with the visa. I'm going for my visa appointment next week, so it's just because of COVID. I think it's just a pain. I think you just like move things about. So
How do you feel about this matchup? You know, when you looked him up, what did you see?
I'm not. Um, he's not the best opponent I fought, but he's not the worst. Every opponent that you face has their own good points and bad points. Obviously, you've maybe seen him before. He does a lot of crazy kicks and stuff like that. I'll always need to watch out for that. But truthfully, I think it's going to be a short night for him because he's not fought the caliber of guys that I've fought. I don't know if you've looked into his record or that, but it's kind of a padded record in my eyes. That's not me trying to be nasty to him. I'm trying to shut him down. I think he's just fought the guys that he's been put in front of, and the level of guys that he's been put in front of. It's just is what it is. It's not his fault, and I don't, as I say, I don't mean that to be nasty. I just feel that I'm a more weathered opponent. I've been through. I've fought on bigger stages. I've fought bigger guys, so I just feel I'm well more versed. And as you well know, that I'm in it for the finish. I'm not here to win on points. So as you said, in the MMA world, you don't get paid for overtime. So I'm going to go in there, first round, get rid of him, and then get pizza in my body because I'm starving.
For sure. Now, the team around you, man, the team that is building you up, you know, helping you throughout camp. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah. So back home in Scotland, where I'm originally from, my training partner Robert, we do a lot of grappling together. My coach Adam Stevenson is my main strength and conditioning coach, and also he holds pads for me and kind of my striking coach, if you like. Because of Scotland being such a small place, I haven't had the chance to train with all these guys consecutively and get good heavy sparring in. So I've moved into Liverpool for the remainder of the camp. I'm at Four Corners Gym. I'm training with a guy, Justin Burlington and Jack Grant, and these guys are all my weight. They're all the same. Justin's actually fighting on the Contender series like 4 weeks after me at welterweight. So I'm getting in with the big guys and getting in with the big team and the heavy team. So as I said before in a previous interview, I've left no stone unturned. So I quit my work. I didn't quit it full time, but I've stopped working for the remainder of the camp. And what I want to do is, as I said, leave no stone unturned. And I don't want anybody thinking that I haven't put 100% effort into it. Whether I get the contract or not, I will, and I know I will. But I would rather people have thought, right, he's done his best, you know. And I don't want people thinking otherwise because I did do my best.
You have all finishes. So how do you envision yourself getting that contract?
Ooh. See, I thought in my head round 2, but if he runs, I think he'll be done in 1.
Okay.
Because it's a tough one, man. He's an awkward guy. I think he's going to run away, and I don't mind if people run away because my style is being built around people running away from me because they know that I'm a knockout artist. So I've developed some little tips and tricks. So like I said, if he runs, he'll be done in 1. If he stands in front of me, maybe 2. But I'm not too sure, man. I'd quite like another head kick knockout.
Yeah, those are always good. Well, man,
Yeah.
September 28th, new date, Dana White's Contender
Yep.
Series, Las Vegas. Chris, it was great speaking with you, man. Good luck on the Contender Series fight, getting that contract, and having a long career with the UFC.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And anytime you want an interview in the future, just let me know, mate. All right.